You all think marrying a mafia king who is handsome, hot, tall, and reminds you of your fictional world is a heaven on earth. Not until that cold, never talking man came home drunk, and all he said, you were sitting on a couch while your eyes were fixed on the TV, watching your favorite K-drama and rolling over the handsome male character, until your phone rang and reminded you that you are married. 3 months married. You looked at the caller ID and your eyes widened. It was your cold husband Kim Taeyang. You cleared your thoughts and picked up the call. Before you could greet him, he said, I will not have dinner at home. Before you could process his word, he continued, I will come home late. Fine. Okay, when we can. Bye. When you were about to say bye, but the call ending tone filled your ears. You took the phone away from your ear and glared at the screen. He had already cut the call. Fine. It's better if he sends a text or voice message when he does not want to listen to me. He sighed and looked at the TV again. You smiled at the male character and said, you are better than him. You were sitting on the bed, rubbing your eyes after ordering pizza and eating half of it. You rubbed under your eyes and said, I am having dark circles. I will not watch K-dramas from tomorrow. You confidently stood up, went to the bathroom and brushed your teeth. After a while, you lay down on the bed, opened your iPad and resumed the episode. It was already 2 p.m. at night. You were peacefully watching your K-drama while wearing your night suit. Your eyes were feeling heavy. You stopped the episode and looked at the clock hanging on the wall. Wine. Oh, 2 p.m. Time to sleep. You closed your iPad and covered yourself with a blanket. Before you could close your eyes, the door opened with a loud sound. Someone pushed it and slammed against the wall. You sat up with a worried and scared expression. It was dark, so you could not see who it is. You switched on the bulb next to your bed and looked at the person again. It was your husband, Kim Taeyang. He was not looking like he usually did. His body posture was looser than usual. He looked weaker. Wine. Is everything okay? You asked, thinking something must be wrong, or else he would never come to your room. As soon as the word echoed in your ears, your eyes widened and your stomach tightened. You were about to ask him, but your saliva got stuck in your throat. You looked at him, but before you could say anything, you noticed him tensing his body as he took a step inside the room. He stood right at the edge of the bed. You were still processing everything. Finally, you looked with all your strength and somehow managed to say, Fine. What do you mean, Tang? I said on fine. What do you mean? He didn't answer. Instead, he started removing his tie. He loosened it and threw it away. Within a second, he started unbuttoning his shirt. You somehow managed to process his action and asked, Are you drunk? Tang, no, I just had a little. You took a deep breath and thought you could handle him. You removed the blanket from your body and walked towards him. All the buttons of his shirt were already open. Before he could completely remove it, you pulled both sides of his shirt together, covering his chest, and said, Mr. Kim Taeyang, you are drunk, and doing that will ruin your cold personality. You sighed and looked directly into his eyes. They were still angry. His gaze scared you, and you let go of his shirt. As soon as you removed your hands, he took off his shirt and started removing his belt. You thought about escaping and were about to run, but he grabbed your arm with one hand while removing his belt with the other. You simply stood there, seeing him like that already made you scared. Taeyang, you will regret it. As long as it gives me, I will not. You widened your eyes and looked down. His friend was already visible through his clothes. You gulped and asked him, Why, is it because of me? Taeyang nodded and said, Of course, you are my wife. You could not help but end up obeying his every instruction. The night was long and horrible. You saw a side of him that you had never imagined, but you were also scared, thinking about what would happen the next morning. You looked at his sleeping face, rubbed your thumb over his cheek, and fell asleep. You were sleeping until you felt a little movement around you. You opened your eyes and looked at Tang. Your hand was resting on him and he was trying hard to open his eyes. After a while, he finally managed to see you. His eyes was widened as realization hit him. He removed the blanket and quickly covered himself again as soon as he realized what state he was in. He looked at you. You were already scared and worried about the situation. He paused for a while, closed his eyes, opened them again, and said, I was with my friend. We were enjoying, and then I come home. Can you explain me the rest of things? You nodded and cleared your thoughts. I was about to sleep. You came into my room and said, You were explaining, but in the middle of it, he closed his eyes, making you feel uncomfortable because you felt he was already regretting what he had done. He opened his eyes and looked at you. I tried to stop you, but you didn't listen, and then Tang nodded quietly and said, Tang, sorry. Vine, it's okay. It's not like you forced me. He nodded again and asked, Tang, can I explain? You nodded and looked at your hands. Tang, we were simply chatting and drinking. It may sound awkward, but while watching the movie 365 Days, one of my friends mentioned Vine. About me? Tang, yeah, he said he had seen your Instagram post. I don't really use Instagram, so I got curious about why he mentioned you so suddenly. So I inserted it and searched for your account. I saw your post. You were really. After that, I could not control myself, so I drank too much, thinking it would clamp me down, and then you what? Tang. I saw a couple doing it outside the club. The man was telling her. After that, I don't really remember anything properly. Vine nodded and looked away. Tang. Vine, look, I'm really sorry. I was the one who said that we are just married in front of the world and not to accept anything from me, and I am the one who started it. It's okay. You just made me. Tang looked at you with the widened eyes and said, What? Can I ask you something? Vine. Yeah. Tang. How many rounds? Vine. Maybe 9 or 10. He widened his eyes and looked at you in disbelief. Tang. Sorry, but it's not like you are just anyone. I like you. I love you. Vine. You didn't say anything and simply nodded. That made him even more confused. Are not you surprised? You said it thousands of times last night. Almost like how people murmured God's name after seeing a ghost. You can feel his cheek getting red. So if you don't mind, Vine, what? Before he could complete his sentence, you picked up the pillow and threw it at his face, making him smile. Vine, I almost lost my legs. Why did you act like an angry bird and scare me when you already loved me? Do you know how scared I was? I will never talk to you.